Prashanti from the Yomogi house. Oh, that might be, is that too bright? Yeah, it is too bright. Anyway, this is real life kitchen with me here in the Yomogi house. Today I'm going to make a traditional Hokkaido Ainu dish called Sampei Jiru. This is a 200-year-old recipe that it's handed down from generation to generation, but I tweaked the recipe because that's what I do. I like to tweak things. That's not a good word. Let's say change. So anyway, there's a story, and with most cultural dishes, there's always a story of how it came about and who made them. It's usually named after somebody, and look up the history of the dishes, the traditional dishes that you eat. And so what I have started was I started compiling notes, and then it just turned out to be a work of art, and it's going to become a book that I'm going to pass down to my grandchildren so they know who they are and where they came from. And I have different sections about recipes that the Ainu people of Hokkaido cooked and ate, and specific wild herbs that they harvested, and from the clothing, what kind of clothing that they wore. And there's different geometrical patterns that our village, my mother's village of Biratori, Hokkaido, that they wore, and each garment has its own specific meanings. And so there's also a section in my book about meals and clothing and the cooking utensils that they used, and what they were called and what they drank and where they lived and a bunch of other stuff. So today's recipe is called Sampei Jiru, and this soup was introduced to the immigrants from the Tohoku, northeastern Japan district. Hokkaido is a very cold country, and they ate a lot of stews and soups. I guess their summer was very short, and this is one of the soups that warmed them up, that helped keeps them warm. Jiru in Japanese means soup, and Sampei was a name of a man, so it's called Sampei Jiru because he was a fisherman. And what he did was, he was the one who made the soup. It's called the feudal fisherman's soup, and he was also he made the soup for the feudal lord of the Matsumae clan. So ideally, he put fish in there, salmon, herring, or mackerel, which is abundant in Japan, and salted them, and then they dry them up, and then they use them as needed after it's dry. But I'm not gonna put fish in my soup. I'm gonna put tofu. Yeah, it's not traditional, but I change things around, and it's good to be creative. And so here's a little diagram, all hand drawn here diagram, and this is the Ainu traditional Ainu sort of designs, little squiggly swirly things, but they all have a meaning to these designs. So here's a picture of my fish and a diagram of what goes in there, and it's kind of easy for the children to understand that that's what goes in the soup. So let's put that away. In today's soup, I'm going to add daikon, these cute little daikon radishes that I got from my garden, and they came with the top here. But I'm going to leave this part on because I think it kind of looks cool, and I can keep the leaves also. And some carrots, and see here the daikon. It's not daikon, the little radish. Cut them like that, and then make sure you wash in between here because a lot of soil gets trapped in there. And then the carrots, you can cut them in little, cool shapes like this. And I'm also using these pearly onions that I also got. Pearly onions and some ginger and potatoes. Make sure you soak your potatoes to get, because these kind of turn black after you cut them. And tofu. Because we're having a coronavirus issue, the tofu factory was closed, and tofu was actually really hard to find. Ideally, I wanted to use the firm tofu, but all I could find was the really soft one, which is okay. Soft is easy, good to digest. Then we're going to have some kombu, because kombu brings out that umami flavor to your soup. So I'm going to add this to my boiling water here in my soup. Now, what I'm going to do first is I'm I'm gonna quickly fry the vegetables in my cast iron pan, and then ideally you're supposed to add salt, and that's all you need is just salt, because the flavor of the fish flavor brings out the the flavor of the broth. But I'm not using fish. I mean, if you want to use fish, then don't add the miso. But what I'm going to do is add miso, and because we are in spring / trying to get to summer, I'm using light brown miso. So there's 3 different types of miso. There's the really white one, which is good for really summer soups and those who live in the tropics, and this light brown one, which is ideally for everyday uses. But if you're a vegetarian or even a vegan, it's ideal to use the really red one, especially if you're not going to put fish or any kind of animal products in your soup. So what I'm going to do is mix. I'm going to mix, because it's kind of like we live in Oregon. We don't know if it's going to be summer and spring, and bam, one day you wake up and it's summer. That's the way it goes. So I'm going to mix my miso with, can't see it so dark, with the really brown one together with the dark red with my brown. All right, that's what I'll do. And these little pearly onions, they're really hard to peel. And this is how to do it. I don't know if you can see it. Let's see, move this aside. And if anybody knows some other easier way, please comment. So I have a cloth here, and it's kind of like peeling garlic, right? You have these little silicone rubber things that you can rub. Well, I don't have that fancy stuff, so kind of like just press it down a little bit. When you press it, some of the juices come out. And then it makes it easy to peel. And don't worry about getting all the peelings off, because it'll go in your soup, and then you know that when you have that in your mouth, not to swallow it. And that's what home cooking is all about. It's all natural. Okay. And then just cut off the little top part here. There you go. All right, and then the carrots, we cut them. You put them on the cutting board and you roll it as you're cutting it. So that's how you get that effect, that look, not effect, that look. When you're in lockdown and you don't have friends coming over, you really forget how to talk, unless you're on the phone talking, which I don't really do, because everybody's busy doing something. Especially now, because we're all, trying to garden and homeschool our children. And the potatoes are just easy. You cut it in half. Cut the potatoes in half. And then make some slices in it. And then you soak it. Okay. So now, if I wanted to cut this in half because it's too big and I'm going to have to take a bite out of it. If you have little ones are okay. Just keep them little like that. But if they're really too big, then go ahead and cut it in half. I mean, look how pretty they are. You can even soak them in your miso. Dry them up a little bit, like for a day. And you stick them in your miso. And keep it in there for like 2 or 3 days. And then you'll have miso pickles. Miso radish pickles. They're really good. Alright. So, I got everything cut up. And then I have my green, the tops from the little cute radish, and just give it a nice rough slice to it. Put that on the side. Okie doke. Now the pan's nice and warm, nice and hot. I am a lover of sesame oil, so I'm going to use that. Now, thin people are recommended to consume sesame oil. But if you are on the opposite end, then, you can use other kind of oil, like olive oil. Please don't use coconut oil for this. So what I'm going to do is put everything in here and let it, give it a nice little brown to it. I'm not going to put the green in there yet, because that doesn't take very long to cook. Okay, I think I'm gonna have enough soup for a couple of days. So in that case, since I'm making so much, and miso soup doesn't really taste good the next day for some odd reason, I could split this in half and keep the other and keep it for tomorrow and not put the miso in there, and just keep the stirred vegetables for my just salty soup. I forgot to tell you, I had a piece of ginger, and ginger is, I hope you can see it. I have a really awesome rock that I brought back with me from Indonesia 20 years ago. And that's all you need to do is just give it a loving mash to it. Throw that in. And then toss it about until they're kind of nice and brown. And we'll be back so you don't get bored. Okay, so here I am, I'm back, and as the carrots, cute little radishes have cooked, they have a very nice character about them. You see, they're a little bit brown, and so are the carrots. They have this nice character. Oh, well, that one's gone. And I'm going to put this inside the pot here, in that pot, which I have the kombu to give that wonderful umami flavor. Put that in there and let that boil up. And then, because potatoes cook really fast, I'm going to do the same thing to the potatoes after I get these ladies out of here. Now you can use butternut squash when fall time comes, and any other seasonal vegetables. Okay, so I got that in there. Oops, that was hot. Then I'm going to add a little bit more oil, and it's going to sizzle like crazy and make a bunch of noise, so plug your ears up. And I like that noise. And we'll be back. Turn it off. Okay, I am back, and the potatoes are nice and browned. So that better. That looks better. And I'll add this to the pot. Now this gets really, really hot. You have to be very careful. This pan gets hot too. Okay, I'll put this away, and I store my cast iron in my oven because I don't bake. I really suck at that. Okay, so let this boil up until the hardest vegetable is nice and soft. Looks so delicious. And then at the end, I'll put the tofu and the radish tops in there. And then I have the dark miso along with the light brown miso. Mix it up nice and good. And that's all you need to do. Okay, so we'll be back in a few minutes to check on the soup. Oh, but before I forget, let me explain to you one more thing. Tomorrow, if it's still raining like this, I'm gonna make another dish called kombusito. Kombusito is a rice millet. It's called millet rice dumpling, but I'm not going to use millet. Of course, I'm tweaking it again. Well, I could use millet, but or maybe I will. We'll see. Anyway, it's made with glutinous millet and doesn't have any gluten. Just because it says glutinous in it, there's no gluten in it. And this is also handed down from generations and eaten during the the Iomante ceremony, which is the bear sacrificing ceremony. And there's a whole story about the bear sacrificing with the Ainu people. And I'll make this with maybe with rice flour to make it simple, make it easy. So that's what we're going to have tomorrow. If it's still raining like this and I can't go outside, it's called kombusito. Very good. Okay, so, oh well, you know what, since we're still on it here, let me talk to you about these really cute potatoes that I found in my cupboard. I bought a big bag of potatoes because I didn't want to go out and I didn't eat them, and look what happened. Bam. They became alive. So from one potato, according to my mother, you get 5 potatoes. So it's called, more notes on here. It means go, which is 5, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, go. Sho, imo. So go sho imo is, sho means unit and go means 5. So you get 5 potatoes from 1 unit. And those little dinging sounds you hear is when people are messaging me. So with this potato, I'm going to also make some potato mochi. God, this is really like fall winter soup that meals that I'm preparing, but because Hokkaido was so cold, and it is still cold here in Elmira, we're kind of like 5 degrees colder than Eugene. Okay, so look at this wonderful soup. I hope you can see it. Let me tilt it a little bit. And it's going to stew up and cook, I would say, for 30 more minutes. So I will be back. I'm sorry for the horrible camera, but I'll be back. Hello, and I'm back. It is still, my soup is still boiling, but today, after my conversation with my mother, she told me that she used to cut grass for the hay. That Grandpa had a horse, a white horse. They were horse ranchers, and she had to cut. Her job was to cut grass to feed his one prize horse. He had a white horse. I just said that, didn't I? Anyway, so during our conversation after she cut the grass, her prize was one little piece of, she said it was a finger-sized piece of candy. It was mugwort candy, and it is made from, of course, mugwort. And I'm going to prepare that for you tomorrow or the day after, whenever it rains again, probably this weekend. And it is called twisted. In English, it's called mugwort. I named it mugwort ribbon candy, but in Japanese, it's another different name. So I picked some mugwort, and I'm going to have to cook this, chop it up, and dry it. It's a time-consuming candy, but it's so delicious. And here's some dried ones that I picked that is going to go into my soup. And this is the California mugwort. God, I wish you could smell it. It's so powerful. It is so powerful. Mugwort is an amazing medicine. All right, so stay tuned for the candy that's coming up, and the potato mochi, and other delicious Hokkaido dishes. Okay, we're back, and I believe that the soup is ready. And how can you tell? Poke your chopstick through that, and you know that's ready. Let's see, I threw the potatoes in, and that goes in nicely, and also the carrots are, of course, done. So what do I do next? What do we do next is I'm gonna put tofu in here. Not too much because I'm the only one eating this. So for lunch, I'll have 2 pieces, and then if I want to eat more, then I'll put more in there. And toss the green, and oh look, got left over. Put the greens inside and let that simmer just a teeny bit. Push it down. And remember, you don't have to cook this very long because the leaves cook really, really fast. And the tofu is already cooked, and all you want to do is just warm it up. Okay. So now you turn your stove off because you do not want to cook your miso. Miso has live enzymes, beneficial probiotic bacteria in there, and you don't want to kill and destroy that. And I think I'm going to be able to finish this whole thing today. So I'm going to put the whole thing in. I was planning on just doing half of it, but go for it. And you know, who knows? Somebody might stop by. I doubt that because we're in lockdown, right? No, Oregon's not in lockdown. We're at stay-at-home down. Whatever that means. Okay. So just melt it up in here. And then give it a nice gentle mix. Oops. Okay. And you know, you don't have to eat rice with this because you already have your potatoes, which is carby, and the carrots. And you have your protein. And that's how peony stays thin. We talked about that yesterday when I went to the doctor. He says, you are okay. You're checked out wonderful. Don't worry about it. How much do you want to weigh? I go, I don't know. He says, well, I wouldn't do anything different because you're perfect. So I came home feeling really happy that I got a clear bill from my endocrinologist. Okay. Oh, you can't see that. Let me pause this and take a shot from the top. So here's a shot of the soup from the top. Where are you? Boy, this is terrible camera. Horrible. I'm putting this on YouTube. I can't believe I'm doing this. Can you see that? Oh well. Bon appetit. Oh my God, that is so good. That is just so delicious. And the potato and everything else in here turned out just right. And when you're not going outside and doing a lot of active work, I think this will satisfy me and for dinner. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to my video. Hit the like button like everybody says. It's right underneath. And stay tuned tomorrow for my mochi, mugwort mochi candy and some other amazing Hokkaido dishes. Bye. Oh, and please share.